Witness testimony. I'm not happy about this, but here we go. The inconsistency explained. To be clear, I am still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Wait, so you're saying metal cannot be transported using your device? Then how do you explain his glasses? What are they made of? Plastic? Do you not have plastic at this point? They're made of wood? Does he have fillings? Also, metal? Your bones are made of metal, mate. That's true, by the way, in case you're wondering. Bones are actually made of metal. Like, what do you think calcium is? In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't a consistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. So what about his blood? It's got iron in it. Like, how does this whole metal situation work? Does it have to be solid metal? Does it have to be... Oh, just... There's so many situations here that it's like, I just don't know where you're gonna go with this, mate. Like, what are you thinking with your logic here? You stupid idiot. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. You idiot. So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. Again, I can already disprove this, but the bloody picture. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. Like, what are you doing, mate? Look what you've done. My great hypothesis holds, you see. We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain. Yes? Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, I'm very much coming in with the picture. Somewhere. It's just, the inconsistency explained. Like just straight away, like hold on here, mate. Like, what are his glasses made of? Like, there's some kind of brass, maybe? Copper? Some kind of alloy. I mean, this is clearly wood, but... Just what else does he have that's metal? Again, does metal... Like, what's this? Is this made of wood? Is this made of wood? Is that his blood's got iron in it? His bones are made of calcium? Just... Like, there's so many things wrong with that. Be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. Right, let's try firing this at it.
Objection!
Idiot. Professor Harebrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Asman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. What? Metal. No! Metal. Can't. That's not... Yes, almost like there's an inconsistency here, isn't there, mate? Metal. No! We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal rimmed spectacles would have been found in the same place. Ah, my hypothesis, my hypotheses. Professor Hairbrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Ah. Oh yeah, it's got quite flawed. I knew instantly, yeah. Council, what's the implication of this? If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work. If I could say something here in my capacity as fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4. Go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science. What? Wait, great Scott. Are you suggesting my science is suspect? It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from the start. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder and a forward. I say the wreckage of that just looking at the newspaper there. I say the wreckage of the machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No, never. That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What the devil is that plastic all about, eh? Who made such a afro? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Raise an objection to try and calm it down? I mean, it's Ace Attorney, so...
Objection!
Professor Hairbrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so, what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public? He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
The grant. He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. But the research grant money, yeah, I mean, it's right there. If the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10? You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year. You could live handsome on that much for years. Society has noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. And plenty of scientists are arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. Does anybody know what he's using here to do? Like he's changing its colors, which can happen. He's shaking it there, it's changing it to blue. There is liquids like that, like different combinations of things that when you shake it to a certain degree, it can change colors and all that type of stuff. I'm just wondering if there's any actual thing that changes between sort of like a cyan, a purpley color, and then yellow. Is there an actual substance that does that? Again, possible. People's greed is plenty motive enough for Moida. Oh man, it was quite. I tried, but it didn't work. No. I haven't deceived anyone. At least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success. Barak. And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused. Barak. Where is this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zykes? The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition, who were occupying special seats. Eyewitnesses? Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage, before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. To be continued, oh my. Well, like right away, obviously, but still. No. 23rd of October, 10:44 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo? What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis. You've been picking holes in it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me. You said you'd proven that dratted explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. But all you've done so far is to try to undermine me. Yeah, now you feel, mate. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh. Oh no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barak? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. I'm glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Yes? What? The machine and demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved. I drew the plans for the machine from my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet. But please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor. I understand. Counsel, defendant. The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. It all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Shlomes was adamant. A practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? 23rd of October, 11 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zykes, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Oh my. It's Jenny! Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court here. My name is Balthazar Loon. What's going on with your hat? Oh, of course, because it's a balloon, isn't it? Yeah. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in the vicinity of the experimento stage. My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. No idea. Gots, anyway. I have come to see the Great Exhibition and all the way from my home in Bohemia. Alright. Yeah, I won't be able to do an accent. I'll try and keep some kind of inflection there, but... I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Urlock Shlomes agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing. Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above. Make it sound like they were in the clouds. It's only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you? 60 feet, about 18 meters then. Thank you for your introduction, sir. Now you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. The view from 60 feet up. It was an incident terrible. I'm trying to figure out what his accent's meant to be. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second another bang in the sky beside us. And from amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone. It crashed into the crystal tower. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. Oh, that's part of a balloon. It's part of a balloon. Oh, the balloon. Of course. That's how there was stuff down below. Oh, and I'm wondering, like, there's so many little things where it's like, that makes so much sense of so many things. Not making sense of the coughing fit I just had, though. Like, I was thinking, like, scratchy in the back of my throat suddenly. Like, oh, no, don't like it, no. Yeah, so did the crossbow being used shoot down a balloon? But yeah, that's part of a balloon. Oh, that makes so much sense of so many things now. I didn't get a look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I have not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, there was 2 explosions? More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places. Yes. See, look, there's that balloon there. Where's that gone? When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower. I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes via a person inside. Yes. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. Oh dear. Still got this scratchy thing in the back of my throat right now. I've had a drink. I still have lots of money. Alright. Precisely who is this curious infant? I am told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition. Yeah, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school. We'll have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. Do we really need that? When I remove my mask, this is what I look like. Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody says so. great disguise, then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Asman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder. The amount of, I decided, because this scratchy thing in my throat, it's I can't get something to eat, maybe that'll shift something, maybe that'll move something. It's just scratchy at the back of my throat. When I speak, it's not good right now. I might have to have a break soon. Probably for the best. We'll see, though. So when we get a good opportunity, I'll do that. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. It may shift itself soon, for all I know. So the defense's cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord. All right, here we go. The view from 60 feet up. I really like his hat. It's silly and stupid. It's Ace Attorney. It was an incident terrible. I'm really grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second another bang in the sky besides us. I want to press on this because I want more details here.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air? Yep. Isn't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer's a mug's game. We should join the force, and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything! We saw everything, because we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into that cage, and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared, just like that. You are describing the moment of the subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was this another bang right in my ear. I looked around and there was this huge great fireball right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing there before. Hello?
Excuse me.
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use the full name. Yes, what was it again? Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormenstein. Just the four names, then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps? Right, get it right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestrade. Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? That is not what I saw. Oh? Yeah, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloons, that is true. But I'm sure... Which is what I said, innit? 1 minute there was nothing there, the next massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Oh yes, a lovely balloon, yes. Just before the second explosion happened, next to our balloon, I got a bit French there, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying into the sky. A green balloon? Hey, you what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it is a lie. That is not allowed. Playing the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interests of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia, it was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time. Alright, let's just see this. A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am sure. I am a proud Bohemian Prince. All the questions are making me boring. Making you boring? What? I think you mean bored. I was gonna say. Ugh, English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Ragzo, it is very wrong to lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. Madai? I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them. Alright. Oh, yes, money. Here you are, your highness. If only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony? Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself, however. Right, so, if we've now got... Because we can't actually do what we do with the jury, can we? Where we pit people's stuff against each other. So it's an incident terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. But we know now, like, one of them exploded, it was green, and we got the fabric right here. So maybe we just present it? I'm just trying to think. I want to pit them against each other, being like, hold on. Those parts of the testimony don't make sense. So... Objection! Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all three of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosions, it would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. Ah, I think it may be... See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope? Pardon? That is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. Do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. No, that would be bad. Let's put it like that. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, there we go. A green balloon did indeed explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No. If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent £10 on the experience, how awful. Seems to me like those things crash 50% of the time anyway. The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage, the point in the materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon, causing the balloon to explode. Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept. Why not, Mr. Loon? You're suggesting that I am a liar. That person's died in a balloon incident. There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is not possible. Something like that, anyway. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Objection!
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. Some kind of robot in disguise. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give your supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition. Grazie, my lord.